Hi, everyone. This is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and I'm excited to be with you tonight. We are going to be talking about karma. And I know that sounds really strange, but it's one of those, it's going to be really important in a couple of months, and I'll explain why. And then we're going to talk about everything karma related. So, here, let me start my promo video, and then we'll get started. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm excited to be with y'all tonight. If you are joining in, let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're coming from. It's one of those, are you from Instagram? Are you from YouTube? Are you from Facebook? And I think we also have Twitter on. Like tonight, I have to pick and choose between my third one. So hello, Miss Jody. We are going to be talking about karma and kind of how it's going, like how this information is going to be really important. Hello, Miss Tina. It's one of those. There's a lot of information out there, and karma is something that I've studied some. I think it's one of those things. Hey, Miss Judy. Oh, Jody is on Facebook. I love that. It's one of those. Sometimes people get kicked off for whatever reason, and they'll show up on Facebook, and then they'll end up on YouTube. So I think it's kind of funny. It's like, yay, where are we at? But we are going to be talking about all things karma related, because one of the things I have found. Oh, hello, Miss Sandra. That karma has a lot to do with where we're going in life and kind of what type of life we have in a kind of an interesting sort of way. So one of the things that I have been studying in karma is that really it's kind of a relationship between a person's mental mental capacity and what they bring into this world, and then their physical action, not only in this life but in past lives as well, which is kind of like interesting. I never knew that part, but that's what it's considered. Usually people that have issues at birth, or illnesses at birth that kind of continue linger on for their lifetime, are considered to have bad karma from a previous life. So I was like, I never knew this. This is so interesting. And if you've ever heard the terminology like what goes around comes around, or it's one of those. One of the other ones I found that was really interesting is kind of like in the Bible, kind of like you reap what you sow. And I thought that was really interesting because I've never thought of it connected to the Bible. I've always thought it as like its own teaching, like from Hinduism or Buddhism, really that kind of energy, not necessarily what's coming in and around. But I do feel like one of the things that's really interesting is, along with that, is when you bring something new to the table, when you kind of correct things from a past life, when you correct things from your current life and kind of upgrade that teaching, it's one of those engaging in good behavior. Because when you engage basically in good behavior, so if someone's mean to you and you're kind of nice to them, or you're really nice to people that you just meet, it's one of those letting someone cut in line in front of you because they're in a hurry and you're not, that sort of thing. Those kind of things actually create good karma, kind of that good energy. So what you send out into the world comes back to you. And I see this so many times. I was driving a couple of months ago with a friend of mine who's not necessarily from Houston, but we were on some Houston traffic and they were driving. And I thought it was really funny because as we're driving down the road, someone tries to kind of cut in front of them and everything else. And they were like, oh my gosh, don't cut in front of me. And then on and on and on. I was like, okay. I mean, you could just see the traffic was slowing down in one area and our lane was really, they could have like easily come in front of us. But because he hit the brakes, honked the horn and yelled and screamed and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, it was really interesting to just kind of watch that for a minute. And I'm like, okay, this person's like really serious about not letting people cut in front of them. But later on the journey, kind of on the journey back, it was really interesting to me because he was trying to cut in front of somebody else, and he was like then yelling at that person like, why aren't you letting me cut in front of you? And I was like, because you didn't let the other guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hello, ever heard of karma? It was just so funny because so many times that happens to us. Like we won't let someone cut in line in front of us because we're in a hurry as well, or whatever it is, or we're kind of not in a hurry, but we're just kind of like, oh, I'm ready to get out of the store. And kind of the crazy part is some other time there may be a time where someone else isn't kind of necessarily in a hurry, and they're like maybe thinking the same thing. I'm not really in a hurry, but I'm not going to let this person cut in front of me. And that's that karma energy kind of coming back to us really quickly. One of the things I think that is really interesting for karma is like engaging in like bad behavior, just like my friend didn't let someone cut in front of them. And it doesn't mean it's necessarily horrible, bad, icky kind of energy. But it's one of those when you kind of send out that energy of like, I'm not going to let you cut in front of me, or I'm not going to let, I'm saying like you get in front of me, that sort of thing, or I'm not going to do something nice for you. That comes around usually very quickly. And I think it's kind of one of those interesting things that a lot of times when it comes back, people don't see it as a karma issue. They think of it as, oh, that person is just being rude, or that person is being this way, or whatever else. And it's like, maybe not. If y'all have any questions about karma, any of this stuff, we're going to be talking about this all night long. So this is kind of one of those fun things. If you have a question about karma, I will definitely go into those. We are also going to be kind of going into really our kind of our 12 laws of karma. Now, I think our laws of karma are kind of really basic and understandable, but I think it's kind of one of those interesting is they're kind of a lot like the 12 laws of the universe, kind of somewhat similar, but not completely. Karma can trap us in familiar patterns by pulling us into similar types of people. So if we're always finding the same type of people in our life coming in over and over and over again, it's one of those. It usually has something to do with karma. Did we not say what we were supposed to say? Did we not clear this energy? And instead of kind of like moving out of that energy, it's one of those, a lot of times people think, oh, this person is different, or this job is different, or whatever it is. And they kind of end up keep staying in that karmic cycle. And not realizing that it's their own personal karma that's actually keeping them stuck in there. So it's kind of one of those, interesting. So definitely, if y'all have any questions, I'll answer them. The first law of karma is cause and effect. Actually, the law of cause and effect is usually called the Great Law. The first law of karma is our most important foundation. You reap what you sow. So if you do good, you will receive. Hey, Christina, if you do good, you will receive good from others. If you block others from their good in life, then karma will block you from your good in life. So it's one of those. It's kind of one of those interesting, like, one of those. Okay, so it's basically just like I was talking about my friend cutting someone, like not letting someone cut in front of him, and then on the way back from our journey, it was one of those, someone else wouldn't let him cut in front, and that is one of those things. It's kind of like the cause and effect. He didn't let it happen, so then the effect was that he didn't get to go in front of someone else, and that's one of those like interesting, but the law of cause and effect usually happens fairly quickly. So that's just one of those kind of great energies. Hi, YOLO. YOLO. That's an interesting one. Okay, so let's get going. The law of creation is really, it's a law about how your relationships in karma and how they influence your life creating. Right now, you're in the most powerful moment to send positive energy to every point of energy that requires balancing. And I will tell you, Yvette, hello. I think this is really an interesting energy, because if you're and think of it like your moment of now is creating the very positive energy that you really require. From your current location right here and now, you are able to send positive energy to balance energy. If you feel rage, if you feel love, whatever energy you're sending, you're going to get that back right away. If you send hatred, if you feel or you've seen hatred, it's one of those, or you have felt that during the day, send love to balance that out. Send love to other people, understanding to other people. That's kind of the cool part about this, is you can balance it pretty easy. I think it's just as important to send love to ourselves now as it is to send love into our future. Kind of like bringing it now is going to kind of bring that energy a lot faster to us. Okay, so number 3 is the law of humility. It's kind of like the law of ego, if you put it in a different terminology. Kind of, it's our own importance. A lot of times, I see this a lot when people get cut off in traffic, and I've heard this said 1,000 times. Someone will be like, "Oh, well, all people in BMWs act like that." Is that your ego or their ego? Maybe there's some resentment or some jealousy caught up in that they have a car maybe more expensive than you or nicer or whatever it is. So a lot of times I hear this from other people, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is interesting." It really does. When karma comes in, it really takes humility to accept any bad karma that comes back around to you, and acknowledging, accepting what you've been carrying around is negative karma, and not being aware of it, kind of like allowing that ego to go, it's not someone calling me out, it's the universe, it's creator energy calling me out, saying what you've been sending out is this negative energy. And I have to have the humility to kind of go, okay, now I'm choosing to balance this. Now I'm choosing to kind of bring this, turning this negative karma into something more positive. But I have to have that spiritual insight or that humility in me to go, okay, instead of going like, oh, it's not me, I didn't do that, anything else, it's me accepting that idea. That's one of those great ones. The next one is the law of growth. Just like everything in the world, either it is something is growing or it's dying. We must be growing and changing and upgrading ourselves all the time. If not, we're on the road to kind of more death, closing off different pathways over and over and over again. As humans, we have the most remarkable opportunity to make new choices, which turn out, maybe they turn out to be mistakes. Sometimes they turn out to be great mistakes, but it always opens up more possibilities. Even if it's the wrong pathway, we've learned something, accept what we've learned and keep moving forward. But if you sit there on the side of the road of life and kind of like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything, I'm not changing anything, it's everybody else is bad and I'm good, you kind of get stuck in all of this. That's the death. That's kind of like, I'm not changing anything else. It's not me, it's someone else. That energy really kind of takes over our lives, and in a lot of ways can hold us back from kind of really walking into our best life ever. Kind of law number 5 is the law of responsibility. The law of responsibility is holding yourself accountable for both your past and your future. This one is really about taking responsibility for your past mistakes. Everybody's made mistakes, me included. Everybody makes mistakes. It's when you make a mistake and you learn from it, it actually turns out to be a positive mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But when you kind of learn from them and you kind of keep moving forward, you get a chance to make a correction or make a change or learn how to apologize, of offering a new opportunity to change and turn your old bad karma into something positive. That is an amazing way to think about this. Allowing this energy to come in can be amazing. Okay, law of connection. True insights into our interconnectedness to all things. Every thought, every action, every event is connected to everything else in our lives. Just like our family, our coworkers, our religion, our nationality is like a collective network. So it's one of those, if you are realizing that your own karma is not only influencing you, but influencing our collective network. So it's one of those, kind of just like anything else. If you're a nurse and you're a really bad nurse or you treat patients badly, what you're doing is influencing everybody that comes in contact with nurses to go, I had one bad nurse and all bad, now all nurses are bad. So you've really put your energy into the collectiveness of being a nurse or being a hospital worker or wherever you work at. That brings it in much faster, which kind of really changes kind of like how we think about things when we realize that, like, or if you're a teacher, if you're even if you're the best teacher in the world, it's one of those, if that student or that parent of that student had a bad teacher prior, it's one of those, you're always kind of up against that same energy in the same way. It's one of those, like, some teachers already made that student not want to learn, or that parent to understand that teachers are not always nice or kind or whatever it is. And so you have to fight that a lot of times to kind of like make our way in. Hey, Jay. So it's one of those, our collectiveness, we are connected to everybody else. So it's one of those, and I think it's really funny. And looking at Yvette's name, it's kind of really funny. It's kind of thinking about me as like, I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago, and I came up with a name during the reading, and it kind of clicked in their head, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, everybody with that name is bad." I had a friend who had that name, and she treated me badly, and so I just thought it was really funny. So in the connectiveness world, we really go, "Oh, I don't like anybody name whatever it is," and I just thought it was so funny because it's like, now we're connected in these ways that I have never even like put together in my head. It's like, this is so interesting. And have y'all ever had this where like, I'm trying to think of the name. I think it was like Bridget or something like that. They had been in a relationship a long time ago with a girl named Bridget. And then it was like, they were asking something and I got that name and they're like, oh my gosh, I dated a Bridget like 15 years ago and she was horrible and she did this. And I was like, that's the connectiveness to that name. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Our number 7 one, hi, Louise. How are you doing? I'm glad you got to come and play with us. We are talking about all things law of karma. Interesting. We are on law number 7. The law number 7 is the law of focus or the law of force. It connects our energy that we are aiming at to kind of at any time we are focusing our mind, body, and soul. It also affects our karma. So like what you're focusing your energy on, that's so true about names. I was the same way, Tina. I was like, really? But I've heard this, and I've also had that, like, if you had a friend who had a certain name, you'll kind of like come back to that several times. It's like, okay. But let's see. So the law of force is the law. This connects our energy that we are aiming at any given time. That we are focusing on our mind, body, and soul also affects our karma. So I thought this was really interesting. If you are gifting your best focused energy into your mind, body, and soul actions, then your actions will create your best karma ever. Does that make sense? So like when you're focusing in on the person you're talking to in front of you, or if you're focusing all your energy. I have a new client that just opened a business today. So like if you're focusing all of that energy on a new business or a new venture or a new way of studying or whatever it is, literally that's going to bring that come back to you in a very positive, very amazing way. So that's kind of like, wow, this is amazing. So whatever you're focusing on, it's going to kind of create that energy. When you connect with the person, like if you're at a class, connecting with the teacher, connecting with the book is going to kind of really push that energy into some amazing ways to really focus your energy and kind of clear out any old karma that you have in that area. Okay, Jay is asking, so okay, so Jay is asking, so the future totally in our hands to design if we can channel our energies in the right way and do the right action. It is in a lot of ways. Now, I will tell you that even though, Jay, if you started right now, this very moment, and said, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to be pushing the most positive energy I possibly can. For a while, you are going to have some stuff that you did like yesterday or the day before yesterday or last week still coming up. So you're going to have to kind of stay focused on that energy the best you can. And if something bad happens, say like in a week, you have a fender bender with somebody else, instead of going like, oh, Ruth was all wrong. This is all wrong. Karma's not this way. I've been doing everything right. I've been letting people cut in front of me. I've been positive, all this kind of stuff. This could be something that you bring in from a past life, or it could be a new life lesson that you're learning. And maybe there's a new way of kind of learning this energy with other people. So this is kind of a great way to kind of think of, a lot of times people, they'll start on something, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, see, it's not working now. It is totally not working anything else. And it's one of those, it's just like anything else. If you were learning how to ride a bike, and you fell off your bike, and you're like, okay, so this isn't for me. You're quitting before you've actually even really started on it good. Or maybe you did good yesterday on learning how to ride your bike, but today when you did it, you fell over several times. There's a learning curve with this. It takes a lot of action, a lot of time to really bring that positive energy forward. This is something that you can keep doing. And as you keep doing positive statements, bringing in positive energy, keep going further and further with it, it's going to get clearer and clearer, having that positive energy, having that right energy at the right time, and it will keep getting better and better. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but it really, really works. Let's go to law of giving and hospitality. Serving others with a sincere, heartfelt hospitality, or giving others your own generosity. You're opening the door to more amazing karma. And a lot of times, people will do things like they may hold the door open for someone else, or they may come in some way, and you're right, Jay. That's kind of like, okay, I'm going to pop that one up there. Okay. Jay is saying, like, yes, thank you. It's one of those, I love teaching things. So the other part is, so what one needs to do is have faith and patience and keep going it. But in that life, I mean, literally going through your life every day is faith and patience of learning something new, putting that into action, and keep going. And a lot of times people are like, oh, it's not going to work out. It's not the way I wanted it. It's not going to pop out the right way. But that's kind of the fun part, is that you get to learn something new and different that you didn't know beforehand. That's the cool part of it. And if it doesn't go your way, just kind of reconnect or refocus your energy and keep moving forward. Okay. When you are in the practice of cultivating genuine generosity towards other people, from a selfless place, and expect nothing in return, you will receive a plethora of good karma. So if you do something for someone else and you expect nothing in return, if you gave someone $20 who didn't have $20, that would be a good thing. Now, I'm going to kind of clarify this a little bit. Everybody's kind of seen those on like different videos that people do, that they'll give somebody, like a homeless person, like $100 or whatever else, and then they're videotaping them. That's not a selfless act. Does that make sense? That's not a selfless act. If they're videotaping that and putting that out on the internet, yes, in a way they're doing a selfless act, but in another way, they're doing it to gain sponsorship. They're doing it to gain positive energy, or they're doing it to kind of gain people wanting to see their channel. Does that make sense? So it's not like a selfless, like what you do in private, what you do of like expecting nothing in return, that's going to get you that positive karma. Let's see. The law, number 9 is the law of here and now. The law of here and now resolves releasing your past with all of the old pains, issues, and triggers, as well as staying in your now. Your current moment is all that matters. If you had true abuse in your past, and I mean any kind of abuse, yelling, screaming, hitting, physical, emotional, whatever that is, if you have that in your past, you may have to really work on releasing the past and staying in your now. Our law of humility and giving and hospitality since your thoughts are kind of bringing your actions and changing things in your current situation. So all of these laws kind of work together. When you think of karma as a thing that has weighed you down, kind of like when you think like the abuse I had when I was a kid is holding me back now. What you're doing is literally giving that bad karma that you went through at some point, you're giving it more energy. You're giving it more substance. You're giving it more weight to kind of hold you back. Um, you are bound to your past. And when you are bound to your past, you are then you're not really in your current situation. It's one of those. So kind of like when you're staying in that old energy and you don't let it go, you're allowing that old energy to kind of reinforce what's going on now. That's kind of the best way to put it in terminology is your constant focus on, if you're constantly focused on your future, you will not find happiness in your right now. If you're always thinking of like what's going to happen next, what's going to happen in 5 minutes, what's going to happen in an hour, what's going to happen next week, you're really not happy in the now. One of the best ways to bring in really a great karma is thinking about just the right now. I'm happy right now. I'm happy right now sitting in my office talking to all of you. Right now, I'm just happy in this moment. That changes energy more than anything else. Just being happy in your current moment, kind of happy with what's going on right now. Law number 10, the law of change. It was actually Albert Einstein who said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We have a choice to change or to remain in our old mindset. This is a choice that we have to make every day. We always have to decide if you are moving into growth and success and change and upgrading, or are you going to only choose are you going to choose? No one can choose for you. You have to choose. No one can choose for you. As much as we would like to choose for other people, we can't. They have to choose for themselves. Since if you start to kind of put that positive energy forward and really decide to make some change and changing your reality in every manner of your life, everything around you is going to change. It's going to be kind of like a really good chain reaction. You're going to change one thing, and because of that one change, you're going to have to change something else. And because of that one change, you're going to have to change something else. So you keep changing and upgrading your life, which means you're constantly moving forward, constantly moving in energy. Okay. Let's go to the second to our last one is the law of patience and reward. Only karma can cross lifetimes. When you send good karma out, you may not always see the good karma return to you right now. It may come to you in your next life as well. Your key is to be patient as a reward is drawn to you from good karma from past lives. So you may not there's no like, oh, this is the karma that happened to me this morning and I'm getting my payback now. It could be something from a past life, or you could be sending it into a future life that is going to be bringing positive energy. This is a really good one. The key is kind of patience is its own reward. Good karma from a past life can bring in some amazing openings for you, and blessings will come to you from creator's energy as you are making changes and upgrades. Your creator energy will also be blessing you with more changes and more energy and bringing new changes in for you really quickly. So it kind of just barrel rolls that way. It kind of just keeps coming in. The last one is the law of significance and inspiration. All of us have a part to contribute to our world. Everybody does. Even if we do not realize how important our part of it is, kind of like our section of it, what are we supposed to be doing? As we change, it is an outlook in our life, and we can influence so many of us. Now, I know a lot of people talk about kind of the energy of like changing our world, but to me, it's one of those, it's small things. There are so many small things that people can do of significance and inspiration to kind of bring in some amazing healing, not only in this life, but our next life as well. We are all important. We are all unimportant. We are as a valuable part of our earth story. We are one piece of a much larger puzzle, yet without us, the world would be incomplete. We bring in, so each of us play a part, a section. And you may go, well, I don't know a whole bunch of people. I understand. I kind of feel the same way, even though I'm on with you guys. It's one of those, I think of like, this is my one part. This is my one piece that I'm supposed to be bringing to the world. This is my one section that I am bringing into the world. And that can be some amazing energy for us. This can be amazing. Karma can be seen through history across the number of different traditions and lifetimes as a central theme. You can get what is coming to you for better or for worse. It's going to start with you. When you have an open heart and you guide through your life with your intentions, what you are drawing to you is usually more positive energy. Make sure your intentions are filled with light, love, and beneficial energy. And this is something that really affects so many of us in so many different ways. I think this is kind of the fun, cool part about life is we have a part to play. We have a piece of the action to happen around us. And I'm not talking about like the 15 minutes of fame. Some that popped in my head. I was like, no, not talking about that. This is your part to learn. So even though you're learning about karma right now and how to change karma, if you go home or you think about this tomorrow or the next day and you treat someone nicer, it's one of those, you're actually advancing your energy even more. You're advancing your energy down the road even more than you are right now. I know we're running out of time. I'm going to do a couple of angel cards. I think serenity comes in with just understanding the law of karma and how it works and how we can work with it. I think that is kind of the best part of life in general. I think that is kind of one of those like amazing parts for us to kind of really understand like our part of what's about to happen and really understanding how karma works so we don't like overreact to things. I think that's kind of one of the special ones. Archangel Michael is one of the angels that you can work with to kind of cut old karma out of your life. That's kind of an interesting one too. It's kind of like, okay, Archangel Michael can help you cut the cords of negative karma. If it's something small, if it's something big, it will come back to you. And then you get a new chance or a new choice to kind of make some new different energy in that area. Surrender and release. This is kind of the best way to think about bad karma. If bad karma is coming back to you and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, this is bad karma and I really don't like this. I understand. I think this is one of the best parts is if there's bad karma coming to you, surrender and release to it and let it move forward. I think that is kind of the best part of this. Don't hang on to it. Just keep pushing your positive energy. So let's see. Jay is telling me, thanks for sending you light and love to you and all your audience. May the law of karma guide us towards true happiness in the world. I think that is the only part that is amazing is learning about karma and learning how to do this. I will have a couple of more lessons over the next couple of months about karma because there's a lot of karma that's going to be coming up in 2023. So that is some amazing energy and I'm excited about it. The other thing is a lot of y'all have been on several times. Jay is someone new and I love that you had so many great questions for me, Jay. If you have a topic, if you have something that you want me to talk about or teach or do a video on, please let me know. I love doing videos. Literally on my YouTube channel, I launch one video every day, at least one, if not more. The last couple of years, I have launched over 400 videos a year. This is my third year of doing this. So it's kind of been like, wow, it's been a lot of fun. I love teaching you guys. Stay connected with me. And I am going to start the banner one more time. And if you have any questions or anything else comes up, please get in touch with me. I would love to connect with your energy. Y'all have a great night, and I know we'll be talking again soon.